My main interaction with him was in the last half of 2005, when he was, for 6 months, the president of the European Council, the rotating 6-month presidency. And I think my experience with him during that time said everything. He was, at all times, utterly charming. He displayed a very good sense of humour, of that was no doubt, and at times a self-deprecating sense of humour. You know, he would stand up, and I'd see him in Brussels, but equally in the House of Commons. He'd stand up and tell a joke against himself if things hadn't gone very well, and the public rather liked that, and he was good at that and clever at that. But so he arrived in Brussels, and he was deeply unpopular because of the Iraq War. He walked into a hostile European Parliament. He gave a 35-40-minute speech without any notes. It finished with a huge standing ovation. He was a star. He was a brilliant performer. I think actually in political terms, the best that I've ever seen. He then launched upon this project of saying, in his 6 months, he was going to reform the European Union, and in particular, the common agricultural policy. This is what he was going to do. And at the end of that 6 months, and it was the week of Christmas, and it was the very last meeting of the governments, and they were up all night, literally up all night. And Blair walked in to a press briefing with MEPs, and I could see he basically hadn't been to bed at all. He looked haggard. The Foreign Office looked embarrassed. Mind you, throughout their history, they often look embarrassed because they get almost everything wrong. And he gave this press conference, having just given away £7 billion of the British rebate in return for no reform of the agricultural policy at all, but the French promising they might have a look at it in a few years' time. And I said to him in my little intervention, I said, look, I said, unlike you, President Chirac actually stands up for his national interest. I said, and he's outclassed you and outplayed you at every twist and turn. And in response, he went absolutely puce. And he pointed his finger at me and he shouted, "This isn't 1945. We're not at war with these people anymore. They're our friends." And I think I'm the only person he's ever actually...
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.